Howdy, y'all. Joe Hills here, recording as I was due in Nashville, Tennessee, and today I'd like to talk about the Yogscast account getting canceled on account of Google's algorithm mistakenly believing that they were under 13 years of age, which is clearly not the case if you have ever heard them talk. They, had to provide proof that they were in fact adults for tax reasons in order to even become Google partners, but somehow an algorithm just completely screwed up. And, it's kind of funny to laugh at first, because you think, oh, okay, well, no harm done. The page was back up in, an hour or so at most. It was a quick fix. But on the other hand, you gotta remember, these people who had this happen to them at the Yogscast are one of the biggest channels on YouTube. And because they are one of the biggest channels on YouTube, when something goes wrong like that, it gets fixed right away. But, when stuff like that goes wrong for people who aren't as famous, it can take months for their account to be re-enabled. And I'm not here to just talk about YouTube. I'm here to kind of talk about how this sort of algorithmic stuff can really just be a problem for people who are what you might consider normal people. Yogscast is famous. They are several standard deviations out in terms of YouTube popularity. They are one of the most popular people. And they are not immune to having crazy glitches and stuff happen to them, but they are protected from the long-term consequences by the fact that they can get in touch with YouTube easily and just have it all wrapped up and everybody jokes and laughs. And I kind of, I started to get upset thinking about how, if that happened to me, or if that happened to people I know on the Hermitcraft server, a lot of us aren't big enough to warrant that kind of response from YouTube. We would be stuck waiting months, possibly, to have our accounts fixed, and, that would be, in the meantime, it's like, well, I guess I'll go create a new Google account, and I'll go set up another YouTube page, and I'll wait till I get monetization and stuff. But, if that happened to me, I wouldn't be able to pay my rent, and, I don't like being in that situation. I don't like being somebody who, could easily have the, rug yanked out from under them. And I realized, this was really bugging me. And I started thinking about it more, and I realized that, a lot of what motivates me to make awesome things is, and to share them. I like sharing the things I make because it's fun to have an audience, but, I wouldn't care if 10 people watch my videos or if 100 people watch my videos, other than the fact that I've got this, continuous nagging, dread that something bad will happen to me. And, or to my family, the people that I'm responsible for, my wife, my baby, and I won't be influential enough to do anything about it. Because that's what the Yogscast people are. They're not just famous, they're influential. If they say that YouTube is a terrible platform to make videos on, then that's a problem for YouTube. If they stop making money off of YouTube, well, YouTube gets a cut of that ad revenue too. That's YouTube losing money every month. And, so just to kind of, when something's wrong for the Yogscast, something's wrong for YouTube. And so as a result, YouTube pays attention and they fix it. And that's a good situation to be in, but I guess what I kind of realized is I don't care about being famous or all that stuff. I don't care if you guys think I'm important or not. But I care if something goes poorly, I care if I'm able to keep paying my rent. With my wife not working, I can't pay my rent without my YouTube money. What if something happened there? And I started to feel like, oh, well, this is dumb. I'm just being neurotic. I shouldn't worry about this stuff. And I felt stupid for being bothered by it so much. And then I realized, wait a minute. This sort of thing has happened to me before. Not with YouTube, actually, but with the military. When I was doing a ROTC scholarship, I had a medical condition arise that essentially, it was extremely debilitating. I would not have been able to serve, and it completely ruined me for over a year. Like, my grades dropped. I don't like talking about it, and I don't like going into details, but I was not a functioning person, and without proper medicine and without proper diet and certain other things, I'm just my body just starts shutting down. And at one point, it was so bad because they while they were trying to figure out what was wrong with me, my brain wasn't getting enough blood as kind of a side effect of this, and so I just kept getting kind of slower and slower. Like, I couldn't resolve faces into identities or sounds into words, and my grandfather had Alzheimer's, and it was really scary. Because I had been kind of worried when I was a kid, like, oh no, Grandpa has Alzheimer's. What if I have Alzheimer's when I'm old? But then all of a sudden to be losing my mind, when I'm 18, 19, I guess I was 19, it was just really bad. And, this is one of those things where I got the help I needed medically speaking. But then, because I didn't have any influence or know who to talk to, my military, my medical issues, it wasn't, things weren't filed properly, and I ended up essentially owing the government $40,000, which I paid back half of that already. So, some of you guys are like, how old is Joe exactly? He's old enough to have paid the government back half of the $40,000 he owes them. So, it's one of those things, like, and so that was a bad situation where I didn't have family members who were lawyers or who knew senators or all these things. Like, it wasn't a good situation for me, and so I guess I feel kind of justified for getting freaked out seeing something like this happen, with YouTube and whatnot. But then, and I'd love to say that was the only time that something like this that was bad happened. But even after they figured out what was wrong with me and got me on the right medicine to fix it, my insurance company decided to drop support for that medicine. Or my father's insurance company, because he worked and I didn't, because I was still trying to finish school. And so essentially there was no other drug that really did the same thing. So after, months of not knowing what was wrong with me, finally getting properly diagnosed, finally getting back on my feet, all of a sudden my medication runs out, I can't buy more, and I ended up, like, pretty much attending another semester of school where I was barely functioning, and it was just a mess. And this is not something that happens to influential people, and it's not something that should happen to anyone, and I feel guilty about that. I would like to fix things so that you don't have to worry about being influential or knowing the right people, so that, you're taken care of and that, things go okay for you. But I don't know how to do that. I can't, all of these systems are just too big. Google is too big, these insurance companies are too big, and there's no reasoning with them. Either they listen to you or they don't. And that's what I mean when I say there's no reasoning with them. If you can't talk to a human being who actually has the power to help you or your case or whatever, you're just nobody to them. And I hate that. I feel guilty that my solution to feeling helpless is to try to be somebody that's worthwhile for these companies to talk about, But I don't know what else I can do. Because if I was somebody who was influential enough to change this system or to fix the system in the first place, then I wouldn't be stuck in that situation. And I don't have any answers on this. I'm sorry that this is kind of a rant where I complain a lot and then I say, I don't know what to do, but I genuinely don't. And if any of you guys have suggestions about how to fix these systems, you should probably tell somebody and, take action on that, because these are big problems. And all I can do is, try to live the best life I can, I guess, and help the people who need my help when I can. But it's a hard thing, This is a weird place for Latin glitch, whatever. and when I say help myself and my family, you know, if something goes wrong, I mean, if I know somebody who has a problem and I can fix it, I'm going to help them fix it. Like, the people I know, I'd like to think are under that umbrella. Anybody that I can help, I will help. I'm not just, trying to help myself, but I'm seeing a system that's so massive and seeing problems that are so large and so potentially, like, life-ruining. If somebody loses their YouTube account who is just, on their way up, I mean, that can totally deter them from, doing this stuff. And I wish that this was just about YouTube accounts, but like I said, it's about government bureaucracy. I mean, there have been all sorts of problems that I've seen dealing with the government. One of the first ones, which seemed at the time to be kind of benign, was when I first went to get my military ID. They printed it in front of me after taking my picture, and I looked at it, and I said, hey, my birthday's wrong here. It says I'm 2 years older than I am. And the guy just kind of shrugs and goes, well, that's your new birthday. I was just kind of... And it's not like my parents lied to me or there was something here where it's like, oh, no, whatever. I mean, I've seen my birth certificate, my social security card, every piece of documentation that attests to my existence, other than that military ID, had the right age for me, had the right birthday. But, because somebody in the military faxed somebody else a form that was, smudged or something like that, all of a sudden I get a new birthday. Like, that stuff doesn't just happen to me. That stuff, and the stuff like what happened with the Yogscast today doesn't just happen to the Yogscast. It happens to a lot of people, and you're never going to hear about them. And I guess all I can say is, if you know of somebody who's overlooked or invisible, like, do what you can to help them individually, because, like, systemically, I'm not sure what can be done. But, the greatest thing, I guess, that we can do is to, look out for each other one-on-one when we can. So, yeah, anyway, I wish I could end this on a more positive note, saying, like, and that's how we're going to fix all of this. But it's not that kind of problem. It's just one of those things, like, life is going to be harder if you are not someone that does things that are significant. And I think that is unfair. If I could just spend every day goofing off with my family and, not have to worry about stuff like that, I'd be way happier. But, it's not just one of those things. I'd like to only be compelled to create work when I feel like I'm really creating something beautiful. But there's a lot of times where I just have to publish something, whether it's good enough or not. Or, well, you guys might think it's good enough, but there are sometimes I put out work where I'm just like, I wish I could have spent more time on that. I wish I could have revised that and done that better or done that right. But, I can't afford it. I don't know. That's the world we live in. And just try and make it better. Be decent to people. And like with this Yogscast thing, it's okay to laugh at it. But, just remember, it's part of some bigger problems that are pretty serious. And if you can treat folks right, that might do a little bit of something toward fixing that. But, oh well. Anyway, until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.